This cozy soup recipe is made with tons of dried herbs and vegetables, rich and flavorful ground pork, and finished with creamy coconut for the most luscious texture. It is officially fall in my book, and that means it's time for us to make our first soup of the season. This soup recipe comes together pretty quickly, so we're actually just gonna get started with chopping up the vegetables. First, dice the parsnip into small 1/2-inch pieces. You can use carrot here if you prefer. Next, do the same with the celery. Then go ahead and dice up your sweet potato as well. The original recipe was made with Japanese sweet potato, but that's pretty hard to come by here in Estonia, so I'm using a regular orange sweet potato here. You can also use regular white potatoes if you prefer. I'm also dicing a zucchini into cubes, giving the arugula a rough chop, and juicing 1/2 a lemon. We'll set these aside to add towards the end of cooking. To start cooking, bring a large Dutch oven or pot over medium heat, add the ground pork and break it up to start browning. Cook for a few minutes, then add the dried seasonings. We're using Italian herb seasoning, ground sage, dried oregano, dried basil, onion powder, and salt. Stir this well to combine. When the pork is mostly browned through, add the parsnips, celery, and sweet potato, and 6 cups of broth. I happen to have 3 cups of chicken broth in my freezer, so I'm using 1/2 homemade and 1/2 store-bought. Bring this to a simmer and cook uncovered for about 15 minutes or until the sweet potato and parsnips are fork tender. I like them to still have a nice bite to them and not be mushy, but they should be easily pierced with a fork. Next, add the chopped zucchini and 1/2 a cup of coconut milk. We're using canned coconut milk here, but you can also use heavy cream, 1/2 and 1/2, or even cashew cream instead. Cook this for another 5 minutes or so, just until the zucchini is cooked through. Then finally, add the arugula and the lemon juice. Give the soup a taste here and add any additional salt if needed. Stir to combine and you're ready to serve. You can add a piece of crusty bread here if you'd like, or top it with any fresh herbs you have on hand. This soup only takes about 30 minutes to make, but it tastes like it's been simmering away all day, thanks to all of the amazing dried herbs we're using here. It lasts beautifully in the fridge and freezer and works perfectly for meal prep or planning ahead. I love this as a soup to bring to someone who needs a nice, warm, comforting meal, or as something to keep in my freezer for a rainy day. This soup is so freaking flavorful. It is so good. It's so simple, not a ton of ingredients, and the hefty dose of herbs really makes a difference. Plus that splash of creamy coconut milk at the end. Amazing. This recipe comes to less than $2.50 per serving, but if you want to make this a more budget-friendly option, you can use carrots instead of parsnips, you can use regular white potatoes instead of sweet potatoes, and you can use homemade broth instead of buying any store-bought broth. Thanks as always for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.